Welcome to Evo India and welcome to part 4 of our Living with the Thar series. In parts 1, 2 and 3, we featured some really enthusiastic owners with some really cool Thars. But as you guys pointed out, they all own sports cars. We're doing things a little differently this time. We've got Vrishali with us. Vrishali is the design director of Therefore Design. She's a graduate from the NID in Ahmedabad. And she's also the lady who's responsible for making Evo India magazine look as good as it does in print. But the best part is, she owns a Thar.
Hi, I'm Vrishali. I run a design studio in Pune. It's called Therefore Design. We were the lucky ones, actually. We got it in the first lot. I think at the end of November is when we actually got it. We booked it quite in advance. When I finally got the diesel manual, I was absolutely floored again. And it is all that I really wanted. We've done some intercity. We've done Aurangabad to Goa, which is a very long drive. We have a small farm about 40 kilometers away from the city. So we do a lot of driving on the weekends to the farm. And the farm is not connected, so it's not on a road. So you have to really, it's really utility off-roading, you can say, because I have to take the car and there's nothing else that can go. If it's not the Thar, I'll have to really sit in a bullock cart and go to the farm. That's how the road is. I also have a Mahindra XUV 500. So that was another reason that we already had a trust factor while getting it. So that's one car that we have. And then I also have a Swift. The Swift was purely because for me, for office and to do the little grocery and all those little city rides. But, I've stopped taking out the Swift because even for the city, I have started using the Thar. And even for the grocery runs, we use the Thar. So I think the reason that we got the Thar was because me and Ashwin, my husband, wanted a lot of time together at some point. I always felt that when we get kids, you just don't get time for yourself. So we thought that this would be the car which would give us that time where only both of us take off. Taking it out in the city, one of the things I really enjoy is that being a girl, and then there is this red beast on the road, people start making way. And, as it is, if they see the red color Thar on the road, there's like people moving away, and then they see a girl driving it, they're like, oh God. I have seen that when I stop in traffic, so many people come up to me and ask, that as a girl, how do you feel driving it? Or is it tougher to drive this versus the other cars and all? And it's really not. It's as smooth or as simple to drive as any other car. What made me decide to buy the car was that about, I think 5 or 6 years ago, we were at the Untitled Academy, right here actually. And we were doing all these hurdles and we were doing a lot of things. And of course, that time we didn't have a Thar and we used the Academy Thars. And at one point, one of this guy walks out and just lets the car go. And it's moving. I was completely awestruck. I was like, what kind of power does this car have? What is the torque on it? So I think that was when we decided. But that time we were living in the city. It was like in the middle of a city. And we kept thinking, when will we use it? And then this came along and I said, yeah, you can use it anywhere. You can use it at home, city, going to office. So yes, that was one of the reasons when this thing came along, we said it can be used everywhere. So yes. We've done a little bit of off-roading on the hilltop at Anjana. The Sunburn Hill that's there, it's quite fun. As a designer, I am a sucker for anything which is retro. And you'll see that in lots of things that are getting done by designers in graphic design. So I like the retro styling. But I also like how, in spite of being retro, it has all the new age nuances. So it still looks new and now, but it has this iconic feel to it. There are few things which bring so much delight. Like when I sit on the passenger seat, the handrest is exactly where I want my elbow to be. And that comfort, I've sat in lots of luxury cars where the handrest is right there and it doesn't make any sense. One of the things I really like is that little camel and the Thar at the bottom right corner. When the sun hits it, the shadow of it falls on the dashboard, and suppose you're taking a turn, the shadow moves like you're in the desert itself, and the shadow is kind of moving with the car. It's really cute. They have done this little things which really put a smile on your face, like that tag of proudly made in India. I think it kind of brings a sense of achievement in some way that I am part of it. And the speaker grill also, it doesn't end, the dots on the speaker don't end in a straight line. It ends in this little mountain with a little Thar going. I know that it's not like a feature which will give power or anything, but it brings a smile to my face as a designer, and I think these thoughtful details really mean a lot. Good design affects our lives in many ways. It's everywhere. The beauty of good design is that it's almost seamless. And only when something is bad do you realize that it's not designed well. But the way to recognize good design is that you don't feel it at all. It's so comfortably synced into your everyday living. And I feel that good design is something that brings joy to people's lives. And in many ways, Thar is like that, because it brings joy to how I live my weekends. It brings joy to how I experience the insides and how comfortable I feel. So yes, it is a good design.
Since she hasn't really pushed the limits of her Thar off-road, we took Vrishali back to the Off-Road Academy in one of Mahindra Adventure's Thars so that she had the chance to do so.
I feel it's a lot like what those Buddhist monks say, doing nothing is one of the most difficult things. If you let it be, if you let the Thar be and not like try too hard with it, it just does its job so effortlessly. I'm feeling like I'm not doing anything, and if I do something, I think I'm going to screw it up.
But the real reason we brought her here was so that she could attempt the crawl, the exact stunt that made her fall in love with the Thar all those years ago. Under the guidance of one of Mahindra Adventure's instructors, she started the car into 4 low, put it into first gear, and once it was crawling, she opened the door, stepped outside the car, and steered it from the outside.
I just did the crawl, and I think it's come a full circle. And it's as scary as it was the first time when this guy just got off the car, leaving the car with me and the car moving, and this time I was doing it. It feels like I really don't know what, it don't have words for it.
One last thing before we leave, why don't you tell our viewers what it's like to own a Thar?
So firstly, I think it's more of a, you're buying into a lifestyle actually. So, it makes you do something on the weekend. It almost abuses you when it sits there in front of you saying it's been like 10 days and I'm not out, and it screams at you and says, boss, ab bahut ho gaya, ab chalo kahin. So my weekends have not been the same, my travels have not been the same, and my girls love the Thar. So it's more than just for me and my husband, it's for everybody.
Well, you heard it from the lady herself. Thank you so much for tuning in for Living with the Thar. This was episode 4. Thank you so much, Vrishali, for joining us, and we'll see you next time.